A farmer in Iowa planted more corn this year than his father ever did. Better seed, better equipment, better yield per acre than any generation before him. He will lose money doing it, not despite planting more, because he did. The median American farm is forecast to lose $1,161 farming in 2026. Farm debt is forecast at a record $624.7 billion. Bankruptcies rose 46% in 2025. A male farmer takes his own life at a rate of 52.1 per 100,000, against 32.0 for working-age men generally, somewhere between the field and the grocery store. The person growing the food and the person eating it both ended up losing. In 1933, the Agricultural Adjustment Act paid farmers to leave land unplanted. When supply threatened to outrun demand, the government paid growers to grow less. It was a philosophy of restraint, built into federal policy. But restraint is not the same as virtue. The program slaughtered some 6 million piglets and plowed cotton under while people went hungry. In 1971, Nixon's agriculture secretary, Earl Butz, tore that structure out within 2 years. Get big or get out. Plant fence row to fence row. Price supports gave way to direct payments that covered a farmer's losses whenever corn or soy prices fell. Grow as much as the land will give, and if the price collapses when everyone does the same, the Treasury covers the difference. It was a philosophy of volume, written into law by 1973, and it has run ever since. Butz was appointed in 1971. The same year, Nixon ended the dollar's link to gold. That timing is real and worth naming. It is also as far as the honest argument goes. Agricultural subsidies began in 1933 under the gold standard. What changed in the 1970s was the philosophy, not the existence. Whether the newly unanchored dollar enabled that shift, or whether lobbying and Cold War grain diplomacy explain it on their own, cannot be proven from the timing alone. Note the convergence, not the causation. What can be said with confidence is narrower. Not why Butz changed, but what changed underneath him. Until 1971, foreign governments could exchange dollars for gold. That limited how many dollars Washington could create. Once that link was broken, the limit disappeared. A system built on ever larger subsidy commitments became much easier to sustain once there was no longer a hard limit on creating new dollars. Cheap, subsidized corn and soy became the feedstock for high-fructose corn syrup, industrial seed oils, and the grain that fills a feedlot. The 2018 Farm Bill authorized $428 billion over 5 years. Commodity programs and crop insurance, roughly 16%, flow overwhelmingly to corn, soy, and wheat. Fruits and vegetables get no such structural support. Here is the honest complication. The fresh versus processed cost gap is not new. Fiat did not invent it. A 1902 USDA yearbook shows grains and sugars delivering far more calories percent than lean meat, fish, or fresh produce. 70 years before the dollar left gold. Fresh produce is labor-intensive, perishable, vulnerable to weather. Supermarkets lose roughly 12% of it before anyone buys it. Healthy food looks expensive if you count calories. Count servings instead, and it often looks cheaper. But when money is tight, people buy calories. What changed in the 1970s was not that this gap existed, it was where the subsidy dollars went, widening a gap that was already there. Between 1985 and 2014, real fresh produce prices rose about 40%, the most of any category. Corn sweeteners dropped nearly 20% over the same years. The money flowed toward corn, soy, and wheat, not toward lettuce. Friedrich Hayek's argument about prices was never really about prices. It was about knowledge. What to plant, where, and how much are decisions best made by the person in the field, not by a department in Washington. When the state alters the price of corn, it does not just move income around. It overwrites the signal every planting decision depends on. A subsidy with no spending limit never has to admit the market disagrees. A subsidy check does not know your soil. It only knows the last election cycle's commodity program. Wendell Berry answered Butts directly. In 1977, his distinction was stewardship versus extraction, treating the land as something to pass on, not something to exhaust. Hayek's argument and Berry's are one argument. The knowledge is local, and so is the care. A subsidy check has neither. The cheap calorie and the indebted farmer are one story. The calorie is cheap because its full cost never made it into its price. The difference landed on the grower's ledger and the eater's health. A farmer rewarded for volume is competing against every other farmer rewarded the same way, which pushes the price lower, which the next subsidy check must cover again. It is a treadmill with no natural stopping point. The farmer did not choose the incentives. They were handed to him, and the median farm runs at a loss for following them well. The subsidy dollar enters through the program office, the insurer, and the processor. Those closest to the money capture most of the value. The costs end up furthest away, in the field and at the kitchen table. The poorest fifth of households spends a third of its income on food, the richest about 6%. Whatever this system does to the price of eating, it does hardest to the people with the least distance between income and groceries. After every concession this argument has made, the claim is this: a shift from a restraint-based to a volume-maximizing subsidy philosophy. Arriving the same year the dollar left gold, directed a growing stream of subsidy dollars into a narrow set of crops. Their industrial derivatives became some of the cheapest calories in the store, while the median grower lost money producing them. This is the Cantillon letter. Monetary truth. Understand it first. Subscribe and visit us at cantillonletter.substack.com.